right, everybody, welcome to AstroTalk Tea Leo season. My name's Kelsey, and we're going to be talking today all about Leo season 2021, which will run from July 22nd through August 22nd. What we should all be focusing on, regardless of if you have a lot of Leo energy in your personal chart or just a little bit of that Leo presence, we should all during these next 30 days be focused on a few different things. The first thing I've highlighted is creativity. Leo is an extremely passionate and creative and inspired type of energy. So whatever ideas you have, the inspirations that you get, set aside time and space in your schedule for you to just let your creativity flow, whether that's through your hobbies, whether that's through your work, whether that's through your interaction with others and your problem solving. Everyone is creative in some way or another. So really just giving yourself the opportunity to let your creativity come forward is a great thing to focus on this month. The second thing would be about connecting with your inner child. Leo is a sign very connected with children in general, and so that can be, of course, sometimes manifested in our own children, the work we do out in the world that might have to do with children, but also it's very much about the inner child and connecting with that younger version of self, and really just feeding and nurturing and nourishing that part of self. So maybe it's a great time to go swing on a swing. Maybe you want to jump off a diving board. Maybe you want to sit in the grass and eat a popsicle. Maybe you want to, laugh with your friends or play games. Like any of those things that reminds you of happy childhood memories, things that you used to do when you were younger that really fed your soul, that really filled you up. Those would all be really nice activities to engage with over the next month. The third thing we can all be doing is taking on a little bit more leadership, becoming the leader in our own lives. Obviously, the sign of Leo is connected with inspired leadership that sees the best in people and encourages people to share their gifts and talents with the world. And so just remembering for Leo that Leo sometimes when it's not feeling good can have a tendency to lead by being bossy. But it's really more about leading by example here, not with your words, but with your actions. So, how can you lead by example at work? How can you lead by example with your friends or with your children or in any other scenario that you may find yourself in life, but just kind of having that idea in the back of your mind, like, what can I do to set a good example and to lead by example? And the fourth thing that we can all be doing during this Leo season is just letting our inner light shine. Let yourself take center stage. Let yourself receive any well-deserved credit or accolades. Let people see your work, your passions, and your projects. Now might be the right time of year to put some of that stuff on display if it hasn't necessarily been out in the world quite yet. Again, obviously you have to balance that with your own inner feeling if you're ready for people to see your things. But if you're feeling good about your projects, your ideas, your inspirations, your passions, get that stuff out there. Let people see it and appreciate the work that you do that comes from your heart. Now, when we look at different practices that are supportive during Leo season, first thinking about yoga specifically, Leo season is a fire season. It's a yang type of energy. So this is a great time to be engaging in vinyasa style practices, movement that might be a little bit quicker, that connects breath with movement. Practices that are more energizing, perhaps more strength building, maybe a little bit more challenging as well, since Leo can be a little bit of a competitive energy. Again, in yoga, of course, we don't really want to be in a competitive spirit with ourselves or anyone else, but maybe just that idea of opening yourself up to a challenge, to maybe a pose that's difficult for you on an emotional level, on an energetic level, on a physical level, but something you've been wanting to try or explore. Now's a really good time in your yoga practice to have fun and to allow yourself room to play and to explore. Additionally, the sign of Leo is very connected. All zodiac signs have connections to different parts of the body, and Leo is in part connected to the heart. So it's also a really good time to focus on heart opening poses, but remembering too that the heart center is both the front and the back, the back of the upper spine. And so focusing a lot on spinal extension and flexion at this time can be really supportive to the physical body as well. When we think about working with stones or crystals, if that's something in your repertoire, the first crystal I would encourage you to think about is orange calcite. So this is actually not one that I have, but after reading about it, I think I want to pick some up. Orange calcite helps to enhance creativity and also helps to enhance playfulness, two things that are super duper Leo keywords. And the second stone that I'm going to suggest to work with during this season is Lapis Lazuli. And the reason being is that this stone, it really helps us to shine our light in the world, which of course is one of the things that I just talked about a moment ago. But working with lapis, wearing it, carrying it with you can also help to give us courage, to help pull out our inner courage that lives within each of us. And this, courage takes so many different forms and shapes throughout life, but especially if there's an area of your life, a relationship or something at work or a personal issue that you're working through where you feel like you need a little extra support, maybe could use an extra dose of courage, then it might be great to work with lapis lazuli at this time. And then lastly, I always talk about herbs that you could work with. And when we think about the zodiac sign of Leo being connected to the physical organ of the heart, there's some great herbs that support the heart. Hawthorn is one of them, and hibiscus is another one. And hibiscus makes a great iced tea. So if you're looking to get on your tea game this season, hibiscus could be a really nice one. Just very supportive to the heart and healthy functioning of the heart. As always, I give a disclaimer, if you're working with herbs, herbs can have interactions with medication, so you always want to, check with a healthcare provider about that. But the second thing is actually not an herb, it's a flower essence, which is called vervain, V-E-R-V-A-I-N. And flower essences work very much more at the emotional or energetic level. And so vervain helps us to slow down and relax, and it helps to calm and balance if we get into instances of over-enthusiasm, because I think that's one of the Achilles heels of Leo sometimes, is that they want to party, they're having so much fun, they get fiery and carried away in the fire, and then sometimes it's just a little overboard, sometimes the fire is raging out of control. We have to bring it back into balance. So if you find yourself experiencing those parts of Leo energy during this season, the flower essence vervain could be useful. Now, I kind of went quickly through the first part here because we have a lot of big astrological things that are happening during Leo season, and I want to walk you through some of those. So right at the beginning of Leo season, we have the planet Venus has been in Leo for a couple weeks. She's now moving into Virgo, which is interesting, and I note it because, Venus is very much about, can be about love and relationship. It can also be about, money and artistry and things like that. But if we look at it more from the relationship or relational perspective, I think Venus moving into Virgo talks about how attracted we can be and how attractive it is when we are working on ourselves to become the healthiest and best versions of ourselves. So that could be physical health, that certainly means emotional health, mental health, etc. So I think Venus in Virgo kind of gives us this opportunity to explore, am I feeling good, feeling healthy in myself right now? And if I'm not, this can be a really supportive time to dive into that a little bit more so that you feel like the most attractive version of yourself. And then conversely, if you're someone who's looking for a partner, looking for new friendships or relationships, you might find yourself being attracted to people who are kind of in the midst of doing their healing and working hard on themselves so that they can feel like the best versions of themselves. And then in addition to that, Mars So I think that happened around July 30, or excuse me, Venus moved into Virgo like July 21st. And then Mars will follow her and it will move into Virgo on July 30th, I think. So same thing, like Mars moving into Virgo shows that we're going to be putting a lot of our energy into the details of things, into the plans, putting a lot of energy into our health and our fitness and those types of things. So just some of these, even though it's Leo season right now, we are definitely going to have some echoes of Virgo themes coming in through our Venus energy, through our Mars energy. After that, well, or kind of in between there, we have a full moon in the sign of Aquarius. So Friday, July 23rd is the full moon at 1 degree of Aquarius. And it's going to happen like late at night. Certainly in some parts of the world, it will already be Saturday, July 24th, depending on where you live. But, you know, this full moon is exciting. There's a lot we can celebrate at a full moon in Aquarius. You know, with Aquarius energy, we can celebrate individuality. We can celebrate us living as our most authentic, unique selves. When the full moon's in Aquarius, we can celebrate technology and all of the wonderful things that it provides in our lives. I know I certainly have a lot of gripes with technology and parts of technology, but there are, of course, there's two sides to every coin. So there are great things about it. So what are some of the positives that technology brings into your life, and what can you celebrate around that at this time? It could also be a great time to celebrate like your ability to think outside the box, your ability for creative solutions and problem solving is really favored in Aquarian energy. And I think also too, you know, if you've been working towards the achievement of group goals, whether that's at your job, at maybe some volunteer work you do, hobbies, things like that. Aquarian energy is very much about group goals. So maybe like celebrating any achievements there and your contribution to reaching those goals. It's a good time to be excited about all those things. When we think about full moons having an aspect of letting go as well, I think definitely we want to let go of, with this Aquarian energy, like letting go of detachment. I think a lot of times with Aquarius energy, when there's a lot of emotions involved in a situation or things feel heavy or disappointing, Aquarius kind of just wants to detach from whatever the situation might be or the people. And I know that firsthand. I have Aquarius moon, so I'm very well versed on how that goes. So I think learning to let go of that being our first immediate reaction, and maybe learning to stick with it, to talk things out, to sit in the emotions a little bit more. You know, those might be some of the lessons that we can learn with full moon in Aquarius. Additionally, you know, Aquarius is beautiful in the sense that it's very future oriented, and it's always like looking ahead and what can we explore and what can we create and what's coming up. But we want to let go of being so future oriented that we're not fully present in the here and now. So that might be something to release with this full moon if you tend to find yourself living very much in the future. And then I think additionally, you know, Aquarius is always a very like revolutionary, rebellious type of energy, which is, it's so great in a lot of ways. That's very much part of the dharma of Aquarian energy. But maybe at this moon, kind of thinking about letting go of like a revolutionary spark that doesn't have any compassion behind it, knowing that we always want to find a balance between those two things. Now, additionally, when looking at what's happening on this moon on Friday, July 23rd, it's got some tough aspects to it. So I do feel like Friday could be an intense day. Anytime Pluto's involved, there's this quality of intensity, of power, of something being very raw. So just kind of watch your emotions on Friday, July 23rd, and just notice if stuff triggers you, if a situation or a particular person really gets under your skin. It's really best not to engage in any kind of power battle or struggle. Like, do your best to just let the situation lie and to take a step back if you can. You can always resolve an issue a couple days later. Like, not everything needs to be dealt with or reacted to right in the moment. So I think if we can kind of carry that idea with us into Friday, that might help us to ride the wave of the full moon energy a little bit better. So that's Friday, July 23rd. And then as we move through the calendar here, we arrive on August 8th, I believe it is. Yes, August 8th at the new moon in Leo. So the Leo season starts with a full moon, then about halfway through we have a new moon. It's going to be at 16 degrees of Leo on August 8th in the morning time approximately. And you know, new moons are beautiful because it's all about getting to set new intentions, looking at what we want to create and manifest for ourselves, and then putting energy into those intentions. So we talked a lot about Leo energy and things we should be working on all throughout this season. So many of those characteristics, those concepts, are things we could set intentions around. So setting intentions around taking on more leadership in your life, setting intentions around being more playful, more joyful, having more fun, setting intentions around romance, setting intentions around creativity, setting intentions around, you know, drawing out more of our inner courage, you know, any of those types of things. You might want to be thinking about those. Additionally, if you know your astrological chart, notice where 16 degrees of Leo falls. What house of your chart does that fall in? Because that will give you some other areas of life that you might want to think about setting intentions in connection with. Additionally, at the new moon on August 8th, again, it's kind of a tense summer. We've got some tension in the sky, and you might be feeling that on a personal level depending on what your own chart looks like. It may or may not be heavily affected by kind of the tensions that are going to be going on up in the planets and the stars there. But if you do happen to be feeling tension, just know that there is a great opportunity for healing also at this new moon. And the healing is going to come from, you know, staying focused on how you feel, being truthful about how you feel, and then also being able to listen and be receptive to how other people are feeling and what's true about their feelings. I think an opportunity for healing will also come when we recognize that joining together with other people, sharing resources with others, supporting one another, both in an emotional and material sense, is really a way to deal with this tough energy, and it's a way to bring about some of the healing. And then I think also like being aware of your shadow side. Like, what are the dark, scary parts of yourself? Knowing that each of us has a shadow side, and then like the world collectively, we've got that going on too. So I think like the more we can be aware of that, the more we can accept that, then the easier it is to not let those shadowy parts control us, because it's like we see them, we're aware of them, we accept that they're there, and then they have a little bit less control. So that I think can also help us navigate if you tend to be feeling any tough energy around that August 8th time frame. And then last but not least, at the very end of Leo season, we are going to get a second full moon in Aquarius. So Leo season starts with a full moon in Aquarius on July 23rd, and it ends with a full moon in Aquarius on August 22nd. So the first full moon is at 1 degree of Aquarius. The last full moon on August 22nd is 29 degrees of Aquarius. Again, so if you know your chart, you can look at where that falls. So it's kind of like we get a second chance. We get to experience this full moon on July 23rd. Notice what comes up for us at that time. Think about what we should be celebrating, what we should try to let go of, and then it's like we get to check in on August 22nd and be like, okay, this is our second full moon in Aquarius. How did that go for us in the interim time frame? So I think we're going to get to we're going to notice that like Jupiter's involved at that August 22nd full moon. So there might be some big feelings, but I think there'll be a little bit more optimistic, a little bit more positive feeling there. And I think also, you know, Jupiter is very much about teaching and learning. So it'll sort of be like, what have we learned between July 23rd and August 22nd? How have we matured? How have we grown? What have we learned about ourselves in that time period? About our individuality, about working for the collective, about, you know, any of those full moon in Aquarius things I talked about just a few minutes ago. So I think it's going to be really cool to get another opportunity to check in with that energy, both at the beginning and at the end of Leo season. So that is the majority of what's coming up for you in the next 30 days. So I wish everyone a creative and joyful and playful Leo season. Remember to let your light shine and to acknowledge and appreciate the shining light of those around you. So have a great Leo season. We'll see you again in Virgo season.